Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Now, as I was speaking earlier about the White House doing all these things that make the rest of the planet worse, meanwhile, they're not housing people that come here seeking refuge, just like, after Iran-Contra, Reagan wasn't bringing people into his private ranch who were affected by that. Same thing with Bush, Obama, any of these other politicians as well. And now Michael Moore, a guy who I'm not a fan of at all, but he made a decent statement here. He said, hey, I will house people who are refugees from Syria. Now, this is in wake of many governors, politicians talking about how they don't have a desire or a willingness to bring Syrian refugees to the country at this point in time because of terror concerns. Now, as I stated earlier, the Obama administration has a very large play in this, but now Michael Moore, a private citizen, is saying, hey, I'll bring people to my house. And I have no issue with private individuals, churches, other people who volunteer their homes to affected people, not just from Syria, they could be Pakistan, Yemen, Mexico, wherever. If private individuals and churches or people of that nature want to open their homes up, that's fine. My issue is when they try to force that on the American people. As the circle goes, we all know it goes all the way back up to the White House while the people are coming here anyway. Now, in a letter to Snyder, that is the governor of Michigan, that Moore posted on his Facebook page, the director wrote, I just want to let you know that contrary to your decision to deny Syrian refugees a home in our state of Michigan, I myself am going to defy your ban and will offer my home in Michigan to those very Syrian refugees you decided to keep out. He said he would contact the State Department and let them know that he is happy to house people in his home. I'm very curious to see if he follows up on that. I'd really like to see a statement from the State Department saying that Michael Moore actually did call them and offer his residence. If you did, good job you being a humanitarian. But once again, why don't we start holding the people who are doing these very anti-humanitarian things accountable when they go blow up these foreign countries. Now, to talk about things here domestically, if you're in the state of Florida, I guess you're in a pretty good state of mind right now, because I guess apparently all the police have caught all the rapists, murderers, child molesters. You don't have to worry about drunk drivers or anything else going on in your area, because the crime rate, in my mind, just from reading this headline, must have gotten so low that the police have nothing else to do but bust old women who are playing mahjong. Police bust weekly mahjong game playing by elderly women, and the group was accused of the crime. 4 women between the ages of 87 and 95. One of the women said word spread about their weekly gathering, and a troublemaker in the community called the police, citing a law that prohibits playing the game for money. Police closed the clubhouse. And it reminds me of that old Seinfeld episode, like, what's the guy named Bookman? Like, this guy went around tracking down people and arresting them for having books or overdue library books. And that didn't just happen in a Seinfeld episode, that actually happened in real life. They said, hey man, if you don't show up with this book, you're gonna go to jail. Eventually the guy came in with the book. But it just goes to show like the hierarchy, the state of mind of the police state, when they will just forego all these very serious, very heinous crimes to crack down on the old ladies, probably there's some widows in there, I'm sure, 87 to 95. I'm pretty sure some of these ladies are just lonely and just want people to hang out with. So they get together, they want to have a mahjong game, they want to play poker, whatever they want to do. If they want to sit around smoking cigars and drinking beer and watching the game, I don't care what they do. They're old. They let them do what they want to do, but now the cops want to come down and bust these people. It's just completely ridiculous. At least they didn't show up with an MRAP and pepper spray them and flashbang them, but man, it is wild how they continue just to crack down people who just do pretty much nothing wrong whatsoever. Now, as we're talking about the police, let's talk about police and political correctness. And we have a sheriff saying that he is politically incorrect and very proud of it. This is the gentleman in Harris County, Georgia. And this is Sheriff Mike Jolly. Paid for by Jolly, the sign reads, warning, Harris County is politically incorrect. We say Merry Christmas, God bless America, and in God we trust. We salute our troops and our flag. If this offends you, leave. So this is a man standing up for the right to be politically incorrect, because we've all seen the war on Christmas. I'm not talking about this faux war, taking Santa Claus off coffee cups, and that has nothing to do with Christianity whatsoever. But we have seen people telling the kids you can't wear crosses in schools, all types of different things, saying you can't have a Christmas celebration in your town, you have to call it Winter Festival or, Christmas Tree Day or whatever type of silly things they do. Now this man is coming out saying, hey, I'm not going to fall for that. I'm going to exercise my rights to call Christmas what it is and greet people and say, God bless you and God bless America. Now, if you say that this sign offends you for whatever reason, you say it's wrong for a person, official spokesman of the government to come out and say all these things and put up the sign saying that he's politically incorrect, I want to direct your attention to a statement made by Governor Cuomo from New York. And he says that gun-loving pro-lifers are not welcome in New York. He doesn't want these right-wing extremists. So while people will jump up and down, I'm sure, about Mr. Jolly in Georgia saying that he was politically incorrect and saying all the things that he said, a lot of people had no issue with Governor Cuomo saying that these extreme conservatives who are right to life, pro-assault weapon, and anti-gay, referring to Republicans, they have no place in the state of New York, the governor said, because that's not who New Yorkers are. He's saying, I'm going to tell you who New Yorkers are, the people who think exactly like me. And of course, we know that's not the case. If the governor of Texas jumped up and said that, I'd say, no, I don't agree with everything you say. And one person actually put out a tweet. It says, if you want to live in New York, you have to agree with Governor Cuomo. What an arrogant, undemocratic mindset. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And as he was talking about guys who are anti-gun or, pro-gun, we all know these politicians, especially big governors, guys like that, they have armed bodyguards. So why can't the people of New York exercise their right to carry a firearm, Mr. Governor? Also saying people who are pro-life, right to life. What is possibly wrong with that? As I was talking about yesterday on the Alex Jones Show doing the Overdrive segment, I mean, all these people, they're anti-gun, they're, cracking down on drunk driving, which, of course, I'm not suggesting you go out and drunk drive. But they want to go out and ban all these things and put sanctions on all these type of activities. Meanwhile, they would be more than happy to kill a child in the womb. So it's like once the child is out the womb, we have to ban everything to protect the child, to put it in its little safe space like on South Park. But while it's in the womb, you can punch it, kick it, or rip it out, rip its head out. What the guy do? Kermit, he was twisting the heads off like a doll. Also, the lady saying that they would use the body parts and sell them for Lamborghinis. You can do all these horrific things to the child if it's in the womb, but as soon as it comes out, then they act like it's an actual person. No, it's a person even before it's born, even though you try to pretend that it is not. And as we're talking about people who pretend like things are not, Hillary Clinton wants you to think that Benghazi was not a big deal. I think it pretty much is, because they want to tell you that the situation with the Ambassador Stevens, was pretty much a miscommunication. What difference does it make? So you have a woman who has a private email server who, in my mind, would make her more accessible to it. If you have your own thing, you're like, I don't want to use something provided to me by the government. I have my own thing, which is going to allow me to respond to emails or information quicker. Fine, if it helps you do your job. But it obviously did not, as is the case with Benghazi, because Ambassador Stevens, for months before his death, was begging Mrs. Clinton, the situation's getting hot out here. Mrs. Clinton, can you give me more security? Mrs. Clinton, all the way up to the day of his death. And at that point, they did not give him more security. They actually took security away from him. Now, other people will tell you that it had something to do with arms and all this stuff. We don't have to focus on that. We can just focus on the bare issue that this man was dead or died because of Mrs. Clinton, who was out doing her campaign trail or greasing the skids for it. She has time to run around to all the feminist colleges and give speeches, but she doesn't have time to check the cables would have actually saved this man's life. And that's a very long-winded way of saying CNN reporter coordinated with Hillary aide to smear Rand Paul during the 2013 Benghazi hearing. Because you guys recall, Rand Paul is like, do you know anything about the arms shipments to Turkey? And she's like, to Turkey?
Is the U.S. involved with any procuring of weapons, transfer of weapons, buying, selling, anyhow transferring weapons to Turkey out of Libya?
To Turkey?
Stay tuned after this for more special reports.
Knockout is back. If you want a product that has 10 known ingredients that naturally get your body to relax, your brain to relax, so you get deep, restful sleep, Knockout's it. Infowarslife.com. L-theanine, hops flower extract, lemon balm extract, valerian root extract, chamomile flower extract, L-tryptophan extract, melatonin, and more. All organic, all the natural sources. It's the same price as leading brands of melatonin that are 3 milligrams a piece. It has 3 milligram, the standard recommended dose for an adult. It's got the GABA. So it would probably cost $50 to take all this as separate pills. It's $19.95. You take 1 or 2 of these, and it just is really clean, restful sleep is what the reviews are. It's what I've experienced. And it just synergistically puts everything in there.
InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Or call 888-253-3139.
You are watching the Infowars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. And your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.